Welcome to Where Time Has No Teeth. Welcome back. As mentioned in our last video, we are going to be working on an Illinois movement today. Ash has volunteered to narrate this time as we go through our continued adventures.
Okay, be gentle first time. And also we are taking the hands off of the dial. We use a piece of plastic to help protect the hands and the dial. We don't want to be scratching anything up on such a beautiful watch. We also take great care with removing the second hand. It is very close to the dial, so again, we are using the piece of plastic for a protection. The hand puller may not be enough here, so we will use a pair of tweezers to carefully lift the hand from the pivot. Am I doing it right?
You are doing great, Ash. Keep going, keep going.
Thank goodness. I'm a little nervous here. Okay, we got this. So now we removed the 3 screws holding the dial onto the movement. Wait, are we removing them or just loosening them? I'm lost.
You're good. We are just loosening them. We will then tighten them up again before cleaning the watch. We don't want to lose them in the wash for sure.
Okay, we're doing this. We are now removing the dial washer and our wheel, and we'll place it in our parts tray. Hooray! We are doing it. Here comes Mr. Hand Puller, or as I call him, Mr. Handsy. He is going to pull on the cannon pinion until he comes off, and then the cannon pinion will also go in the parts tray with his friends. We flip the movement over in the holder now to show the, what was it called? Oh, the watchmaker's side. I have to say this movement is gorgeous. The way it shines in the lighting. It's too bad all of this beauty is hiding in the case. This is a true example of how true beauty is on the inside. I digress. Oh, look at that. How did it start up like that?
Well, Ash, while you were being mesmerized by the movement's beauty, I put a small wind in the movement by turning the screw on the winding wheel. We gave it a little shake and off it went. This is a great sign. It is running now, so after we clean it and assemble the movement, it should be a good little runner.
Looks like you remembered to take the wind back out of the movement. After your little science experiment there.
Yes, we don't want parts taking trips to different parts of the country.
And here we are removing the balance wheel assembly. This part is so fascinating. There is that little hairspring wrapped in a coil. It looks so fragile, but it is yanked back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, over and over again, and survives the torture it endures for years and years. We place the one little screw that holds this balance wheel assembly in the parts tray so it is safe. We need to be very careful with the removal of the assembly not to damage that fragile yet resilient hairspring. Again, so fascinated by this part, by its elegance and strength. Do you have a partner little hairspring? If not, I'm interested.
Wow, Ash, you really admire that hairspring.
Okay, back to the task at hand. What are we doing next? Oh yeah, removing the pallet fork bridge. This bridge is held on by 2 small screws. The last movement we worked on, the Seagull ST3600, had several blued screws. This movement has gold-colored screws. I'm guessing they are not real gold, or they would be too soft and be damaged easily by the screwdrivers. This pallet fork bridge was really on there. Had to give it a little coaxing to release from the main plate, but we got it. Well done, fine sir. Now to remove the pallet fork itself. Oh, wait, what happened? Why did the escapement wheel take off like that? Good thing it is held in place by that bridge. Wow, that scared me a little there.
That's all good, Ash. No fear. There was just a little bit of power left in the movement from the main spring. So what do you think would happen if there was a full wind in the watch? Yeah, those wheels would all just spin with all the power left in the movement. Not really very good for the parts. If the pallet fork didn't come all the way out and got caught on the wheels, there could be some damage. But we just had a little in there, so all is well in the world. Continue. Ash, you are doing a great job at this.
Thank you. Thank you. Please hold all applause for the end of the show. Just joking, feeling a bit more confident now. Okay, now we are taking off the escapement bridge. I think the manufacturer is playing a trick on us, though. It looks like the escapement has its own little bridge, but I'm feeling we are being played here.
You are correct. This other wheel is also under the same bridge. The way the bridge is made, it does look like each one is separate, but they are not. We will have to watch this moving forward. This is the amazing part of this hobby. This is the first time taking this movement apart. There are all these new little nuances to each of these movements. It truly is a new journey each time. That's what makes it exciting and worthwhile.
Well, I see you put on your little detective's hat and found out what was going on. Well played, fine sir. I bet the main bridge has a similar trick up its sleeve. We know what is going on here now. Silly little manufacturer. You got us on that one. So we are going to finish taking off this bridge and the next one. While we do that, how was the swap meet? Did you get anything of value for the Jenna? I've been dying to hear.
Thanks for asking. So we went to the meet. The parking lot was very full. I don't believe everyone was there for the meet, though. There were several horse trailers around the fairgrounds. There were people walking their horses around. I don't know if there was a event for horses or not. We entered the building. We were not sure if there was a ticket charge or anything. We got in and just walked into a room. It was a decently sized room, but kind of small. I was thinking, is this it? We walked around and they had all sorts of stuff, but I didn't see any watches. In my mind, I was thinking that I would be walking into booths with banners of various manufacturers with hundreds of watches on display. I know, I hyped it up a bit in my brain, but that is what my expectations were.
Some pretty high expectations there for a swap meet you had never been to before, Maves.
I know, Ash, I know. So, anyways, my wife found some stuff and my daughter was looking around for fungal pops. She collects them. I hope I said that right. So it was pretty underwhelming. I decided to walk out of that room and see if there was anything else. I walked out into a hallway and could hear people talking in a room down the way. I started following the voices and saw another area. It was about 6 times as big, and there were several, I'm going to say people, not vendors, sitting at their booths. I'm thinking, okay, we might have something here.
Very exciting. But real quick, I just wanted to say that the bridge that is being taken off was still a little deceptive. It was not only the crossover looking bridge, but the main bridge too. They're all one bridge. That will be fun, lining all those pivots up at once. It's okay. I'm here for moral support.
I can always count on you, Ash. We will all need your support when we put this back together. So I start looking around at the booths. I see one where a gentleman was selling a variety of stuff. I see 4 Ziploc bags full of watches. I'm looking at each bag. 2 of them had cheap watches with straps and bracelets. Now, the other 2 bags were all mechanical watch movements. There were several Elgin pocket watch movements. Some appeared to be damaged, but it was hard to tell what was all in the bags because of the quantity of movements inside. I asked how much for all 4. The gentleman looked at me and smiled. He said, "How about $130? I said, "How about $100? He said, "Sold." He looked at me and the 4 bags. He said, "I'll tell you what, I'll throw in a canvas bag for you." I was so glad he did that. Those 4 bags felt like 60 pounds of lead weight. I packed those around with me while we looked some more. There was another gentleman that was selling a couple Seiko watches that were quartz movements. I was mainly looking for mechanical watches.
Great experience so far. I just wanted to interject that we had to take the winding wheel and the crown wheel off. This is so we could remove the main bridge that the manufacturer made to look like separate bridges. Sneaky little boogers. Just a reminder that the crown wheel screw is a reverse one, meaning that to loosen the screw, you have to turn it clockwise, not counterclockwise like we normally do. Okay, back to the swap meet.
Thanks for that reminder. We don't want to shear off a screw because we were turning it the wrong way. So I have this 60 pounds of watches. I get home and start diving into these 4 Ziploc bags. I went through the 2 bags pretty quick. There was nothing of real value there. I could use some of the straps for other watches, but most were just junk. So I start into the movement bags. There was a strong odor of old dust. I start pulling movements out one by one. I'm starting with the larger ones. There's Elgin after Elgin after Elgin coming out. But there was a common theme. It looked like someone had cut them deliberately with a bolt cutter in various locations. They all had cuts through the winding area, damaging the winding wheel and the keyless works. I'm thinking, why would someone do that?
I don't understand either. Most of those were at least 100 years old. Another mystery for the detective, I guess. That is a damn shame. Also, we are taking out the click. This makes it so the movement doesn't just unwind. Still don't get the cutting of the movements.
Yeah, I have no idea. So most were cut in the keyless works and other areas. The balance wheels were not cut though. There was a lot of force used because some of the bridges were almost cut in half. These are made of metal, by the way. So I was a little disappointed that I did not see all the damaged movements. But I continued. I found 5 or 6 pocket watch movements that were not destroyed. They were Elgin's and Walta movements. I started getting back into the bags for the smaller movements. There were so many of them. I'm still going through them to see which ones are serviceable and the ones that are not. I plan on putting them on an auction site because I am not ready to work on these tiny movements.
So, did you find any good small movements in the bags? And what in the world are you doing with all the damaged movements?
So yes, there were several small movements. There was about 120 movements altogether that were not cut. There were 2 small Omega movements. One was an automatic. Those movements look so good. The metal has a rose gold hue to it. I wish they were not so small. What did I do with the damaged ones, you ask? Well, let me tell you. This was a great experience. I had so many that were damaged that I took them all apart, one by one by one. This gave me so much practice on disassembly and looking how the parts worked from these different brands. There was no real stress if I lost a part. I was being careful because I didn't want to create bad habits, but all the practice was worth what I paid for the movements, even though a lot were damaged. But with all the disassembly, I got a lot of spare parts. I'd already used some of them in other movements that were needing some parts replaced. So all in all, it was a good find and worth the time going to the meet. We will be going again. My wife is now interested in coin collecting. There were several booths selling coins. We will have to become educated in the coin world now.
Very nice, my friend. Very nice. I like how you changed a negative into a positive experience. I knew there was something about you. So we are taking out the train of wheels now after getting that behemoth of a bridge off the movement. That was so deceiving. Still a great movement, but it looked like the several bridges lining up pivots later. It's so much easier. This is still a great looking movement though. I will forgive them, I guess, and instead thank the manufacturer for the challenge. See, I can do it too. Now we are moving to the keyless works. This assembly comes out in one piece, but is comprised of several, including the stem, winding clutch, and clutch.
Though I mentioned the balance wheels not being cut in the larger movements, this does not mean I have volumes of balance wheel assemblies. Some were good, but a lot of them had broken balance staffs. I know they can be replaced, but I'm not ready in my watchmaking adventures to tackle that task. This would involve the hairspring that Ash is so Twitter-pated with. Sorry, Ash, had to poke fun, and I'm not to that level right now.
No problem. You poke fun. Fine, sir. So we are removing the rest of the keyless works here with the removal of what I believe is the setting lever. Wait, did you mention that fabulous part, the hairspring, that is so fragile and yet stronger enough to tell time through the centuries under torturous conditions? Whatever, what's not to admire? This lever is fighting back a little bit. What we didn't see on the other side was a spring that has a loop in it that was attached on the other side of this lever. It came loose, but we probably should have looked at the other side when there was resistance. So now we are removing the clutch lever. You can see the spring I mentioned and the loop on the left side. This was attached to the setting lever, and why it sprung out like that. We will remember this for assembly in the future. We are almost done with disassembly. This has been great. Thanks for letting me be part of this journey and introducing me to Mr. Hairspring.
You did a great job, Ash, with explaining our journey. You are welcome to help us anytime. We will be doing the assembly soon, so you will need to come hang out with us, including Mr. Hairspring.
No problem, fine, sir. I will be back, but we're not done here yet. We are removing the motion works here and getting them ready to be tucked in soundly and safely in the parts tray to take a slumber until the assembly. These parts are really in there. I need to look how old this movement is. Oh my gosh, completely forgot. The estimated manufacture date was 1922. This movement is almost 103 years old. This gent looks amazing for his age. He is a grade 406 model 3. He is a size 12 with 17 beautiful jewels. There was a production run quantity of 98,370, and he is 92 of his 132 brothers and sisters.
Well, thank you for being part of our adventures once again. We completed disassembly, and next will be assembly. Thanks, Ash, again for all the help and insight. See you all next time, where time has no teeth.